Okay, let's jump straight into this explainer. I mean, just look around at typical modern life for a second. It is usually this chaotic mess of overflowing inboxes, nonstop notifications, and just unpredictable stress, right? But what if you could actually take all of that noise and turn it into engineered certainty? Well, today we're going to explore this incredible system that literally takes the cold, hard precision of industrial engineering and applies it directly to human existence.
Chapter 1, The Philosophy in a Bowl. We're kicking this journey off not with some dense, abstract philosophy, but actually with a highly systematic, engineered recipe.
So, take a really close look at this beautifully crafted bowl of deep sea umami porridge. It was created by an engineering technician named Lin Kangyan. Now, I don't know about you, but when I cook, it usually involves me just haphazardly throwing whatever is left in the fridge into a pan and, hoping for the best. But Lin, he literally engineered this bowl. At first glance, sure, it's just a hearty meal. But the meticulous way it was put together actually reveals an entire worldview. I know, it sounds like a massive stretch, but think about it for just a second. Cooking, at its absolute core, is really just a system. It's a set of inputs, processes, and outputs. So I have to ask, what if the secret to a perfectly stable life is hiding right here, in this bowl of porridge? Let's break down exactly how Lin treats his ingredients. Let's look at Lin's flavor correction logic. For most of us, if we taste something a bit off or kind of earthy in our food, we just dump hot sauce on it to mask the bad flavor, right? Well, Lin definitely doesn't do that. He uses ingredients like black pepper not simply to add spice, but actually as a form of mathematical noise reduction. The pepper specifically neutralizes the earthy off flavors. He's acting exactly like a pair of noise-canceling headphones, mathematically eliminating the static to reveal a perfectly clean, pure taste underneath. And honestly, this is where it gets super fascinating. His culinary techniques actually map flawlessly onto high-level systems engineering principles. Let's walk through a couple of these. Identifying that earthy taste, that is what he calls signal recognition, basically figuring out exactly what the problem is. Then adding that specific amount of black pepper to eliminate the earthiness, that's applying a certainty module, a very specific intervention guaranteed to produce a stable outcome. So this isn't just cooking. This is literally a micro demonstration of applied systems logic happening right on your kitchen counter. Chapter 2, A Life Operating System. Because think about it. If this intense level of precision is how he engineers a single bowl of porridge, how on earth does he engineer an entire human life? Enter the King and Yan Systems Model, or CYSM for short. This is a comprehensive life operating system developed by Lin after he retired from a rigorous 40-year career working within industrial control systems. Just let that sink in for a second. He took the unbreakable, hard and fast rules that keep massive, high-stakes factories and power plants running without catastrophic failure, and he applied them directly to his own personal existence. It essentially treats everyday life decisions as pure system design problems. The core thesis of Lin's entire philosophy is incredibly straightforward, yet it deeply challenges our modern mindsets. It goes like this: survival precedes performance, and stability precedes success. We're all currently living in this crazy hustle culture that constantly tells us to perform, scale up, and optimize for peak output at all costs. But CSIM insists that if your foundational system isn't stable, any success you build on top of it is just a temporary illusion waiting to collapse. It's like building a mansion on quicksand. There is actually a core mathematical equation driving this entire framework. Your life outcome is simply the product of your signals, multiplied by time and anchored by stability. And because it's multiplication, the math is totally unforgiving. If your stability is zero, the entire equation zeroes out. It honestly doesn't matter how incredible your directional signals are or how much time you have. If the system itself isn't stable, the ultimate outcome is always going to be zero. Chapter 3, The 5 Subsystems. To make this mathematical equation actionable in your everyday life, CYSM breaks existence down into 5 independent layers that you have to optimize together. Let's see how this builds, step by step. First up is signal recognition, identifying the right directional trends in your environment. Second, time amplification, using time deliberately to compound those correct signals. Third, capital stabilization, building financial resources purely as a buffering system against shocks. Fourth is health infrastructure, maintaining your physical and mental well-being as the literal machinery of the system. And finally, number 5, stability control, implementing boundaries to prevent catastrophic failures.
Now, these five don't exist in isolation. They continuously feed into each other in an engineered loop.
Chapter 4: Stability Before Success. Society teaches most of us to maximize absolutely everything: our wealth, our status, our output. But CYSM completely flips that traditional thinking on its head. Let's use money as an example here. Traditional finance teaches us to be goal-oriented, right? It tells you to maximize your wealth, accumulate capital, maybe buy a flashy car to show off your status. CYSM, on the other hand, is entirely process-oriented. It views capital strictly as a stability resource. In this model, the whole point of an emergency fund isn't to make you rich. It's to ensure that a sudden medical bill or a job loss doesn't completely derail your entire system. You are literally using money to buy operational peace of mind. When your life is fundamentally unstable, you're constantly pushed toward immediate gratification. You end up doom scrolling, impulse buying, or relying on cheap dopamine hits just to cope with the baseline stress of surviving. But when you build a stable system first, you don't actually have to force happiness. True enjoyment and freedom emerge naturally over time, simply because the ambient anxiety of survival has been completely engineered out of your day. So the really crucial takeaway here is that true freedom is not just quitting your job to go backpack around the world. In CYSM, freedom is the operational breathing room created when you intentionally design redundancy into your life. And redundancy means having backups. It means living below your means so that if your primary income fails, your life doesn't just immediately collapse. In engineering terms, if every single step you take is right on the edge of the cliff, you have absolutely zero room to maneuver. Freedom requires a buffer. Chapter 5: Engineering True Freedom. This framework isn't just some abstract theory you'd learn in a university lecture. It's an entirely new paradigm for engaging with reality on a daily basis. Compared to a traditional university degree that's measured by a GPA and isolated laboratory experiments, practicing CYSM is kind of like earning an advanced degree in life engineering. Your ultimate metric isn't a letter grade. It's your own long-term system stability. The practice arena isn't a classroom. It's life itself. And what's incredibly modern about this framework is that it expects you to be calibrated continuously by AI using modern tools to refine your inputs and just eliminate the noise from your decision-making. There's a philosophical triad at play here, and this is where the system gets really deep. It beautifully bridges the gap between the hard sciences and the humanities. On one hand, you have Galileo, representing the Western scientific method, objective discovery, and observing the external world. On the other hand, you have Mencius, the ancient Chinese philosopher, representing internal discernment, ethics, and human nature. CISM basically pulls these two worlds together. It says you absolutely need Galileo's objective science to recognize external signals, but you need Mencius's internal wisdom to amplify them over time without losing yourself. It is a completely unified logic of certainty. But the true power of this model comes from the fact that it wasn't just dreamed up by some lifestyle guru sitting in an ivory tower. No, it was forged in the fire of 60 years of lived experience. Plus 4 decades of relentless, hands-on engineering practice in harsh industrial environments. It has been tested over and over against the absolute constraints of reality. Think of it like a system resilience map. You start right at the base by engineering an incredibly low cost of living, strict behavioral discipline, and really strong cash reserves. Once that foundation is unbreakable, you move up the pyramid. You begin to engineer a life that doesn't just survive, but naturally adapts, scales, and thrives. You achieve higher adaptability and optionality at the very top, but notice how it all rests securely on those foundational layers of absolute stability at the bottom. Which leaves us with one final, deeply provocative question that you have to answer for your own system and for your own life. Are you chasing fragile performance? Or are you building an unbreakable system of stability? Think about what your life is truly optimizing for today, right now, as you evaluate your own foundational layers.